Hello, everyone! Team Winamax is back once again for the last major tournament of the summer in Las Vegas, the famous $10,000 Six-Max event. Adrian Mateos is at the final table and sitting quite comfortably, in fact. He's chip leader after brilliantly calling a huge bluff by Alexander Rayar, the reigning champion. But before he can add a fifth bracelet to his wrist and get his hands on close to $1 million, Adrian still has one last hurdle to overcome. 6 formidable opponents, all regulars on the high roller circuit. Come on, Adrian, keep the dream going.
Be happy, bro. Not every day fan al table.
Go home.
There's still a long way to go, but the situation has improved quite a bit for me. That's good, but things can change quickly. I'm going to keep going. I have to control my emotions even when they're positive. I'm very happy right now, but I have to play each hand the best I can. Jack-6 of spades. He opens from the button with 11 blinds, and my hand is an obvious call. A low flop, a few backdoor draws. He decides to bet one blind. He has a very short stack. My hand is borderline between all 3 options. I can raise and fold to a shove, I can call. Folding is a bit tight, I think I have good pot odds. Should I call or raise? I'm not sure. I'm going to call this time. Check. I have a flush draw against a very polarized range. When he opens with 11 blinds on the button, he often has a premium, a very strong hand, or bluffs that don't want to go all in with big blockers. This king is a card that heavily favors his range, and I think he's going to bet very often. Or he should bet it very often. SPR of 1.
Much?
And he bets 200,000, which is 1/4 of the pot. And here my hand is borderline between shoving and calling. Both options are valid, and it will depend on the frequency with which he opens pre-flop with bluffs. I think this is a turn where he's going to continue with almost all of his bluffs, that it's very easy to overbluff, and that maybe some of his value hands like jacks or queens sometimes won't fire a second barrel, which leaves him with a high percentage of bluffs. Plus, I have equity with this hand. Even if he has a strong hand, I have 20% and the SPR is less than 1. That means I need 33% if I go all in. Even when he calls me, it's not such bad news. I think going all in is fine. He has kings, it's the worst hand, but I still have 9 outs. A bit less because he has a set, but I have a chance to make a flush. Brick on the river, and he doubles up. On the turn, it's borderline between calling and shoving. It will depend on how often he's opening with a non-premium hand on the button. And I'll never know because it depends on his strategy. I lose an important pot and double the shortest stack at the table.
9-10.
Yes, correct. Still, I think I remain the chip leader, but the gap is smaller now. Several stacks are very close in size.
That one flush, yeah.
10 o'clock exposed. At 10 o'clock.
Pocket deuce on the cutoff against the hijack. Being the chip leader, I'm much more inclined to play hands by simply calling pre-flop. This one is borderline. It's a slightly loose call, but I think it can be profitable as the chip leader.
Call 240.
I don't expect much aggression from behind, and I'm in position against the player who opens.
Three flags.
What a great flop. Mustafa is thinking about whether to bet or not.
350.
Bet 350.
He decides to bet. I perceive his c-bet as relatively strong. The question is whether my hand wants to raise here or prefers to just call. Both options are good, and it's going to depend. I have to decide based on how I perceive his c-bet. I think he can have enough bluffs. I'm going to call.
Call 350.
I think that with a set, it's better to call.
What's up?
The turn is a king. It's a card. Good for his range. He has more king X than I do.
Check.
Although he also has to check because there are a lot of hands that also don't want to play for their whole stack on this king. He also has ICM pressure because he could get eliminated. Me, I can't get eliminated on this hand. I think I have to bet here. I bet 1/3.
Bet 500.
My opponent is thinking a lot. He folds. I take down a nice pot. He seemed to have some showdown value. Maybe he had a hand like pocket sevens, pocket eights, something like that.
Thank you, so.
I continue accumulating chips and I win an important pot. I open from early position.
240.
Raise the 240.
It seems that my opponent has a decision to make. He decides to 3-bet me. He's playing around 30-something blinds. My hand is marginal. All three options are valid, meaning folding, going all in, if I think he's too loose, or even 4-bet folding. All the options are very close right now. Calling is the one I like the least. It's going to depend on his 3-betting frequency. I think this is a good combo for a 4-bet bluff. My premium hands want to induce here. Hands like ace-king, queens, kings, aces want to induce, and I have to include some bluffs. And these ace-x work well, though not always. It's very difficult to manage frequencies correctly in these spots. I decide to 4-bet. If he goes all in, I'm going to fold. That's almost 1/3 of his stack.
1.350.
1.350, right.
It's going to be a bit of a marginal spot, no matter which line you take. Let's see if he folds. He goes all in. Nah. Too bad, I lose an important pot. But oh well, I'm not sure. Maybe it would have been better to just fold, or even go all in. It's going to be very marginal, I think. I pick up a nice hand in a battle of the blinds against Alex. Pocket kings.
$440.
Raise to 440.
Too bad, but he decides to fold. Alex won this tournament last year. It would be really sick to go back to back, but even just the fact that he made the final table again is already pretty impressive.
We raise 500.
Finish today. I win today. What tomorrow? Today. What second? I not have bracelet. You have it. What? No. You have? No bracelet.
Ace 10. I decide to open from the hijack.
240.
Raise 240.
I think you have it, bro. Andre, I have. Frank, I have. You know that.
We raise. You have?
The cutoff 3-bets me.
Ring.
Ring, yeah. No, two. Ring, care. One PO, one fold.
My hand is an obvious fold. Small blind. I'm going to have a wider opening strategy than when he had me covered. I've got him covered now. I need to apply pressure.
440.
Raise 440.
I need to have a calling strategy and other hands with which I can open. With this hand I can do both, either just call or open. This time I decided to take the aggressive line and open. Let's see if we get a good flop. King 6-2. These spots are very complex because my range is quite wide and I have to manage betting frequencies well. It's a flop where I need to have a high c-betting frequency, but the bet sizing isn't easy in these pots. I can bet anywhere from small to bigger. I have a lot of potential bluffs. My opening range from the small blind is wider than usual, and I think I also need to have bigger c-bet sizings with some hands.
600.
600 bet. I just got my lucky back.
Normally, when you have more bluffs, you have to bet bigger, and that's the case here. I decide that this combo is good to use as a bluff. The turn is a king, pairing the board. I have a hand that's a candidate to continue betting. My hand is acceptable and I'm not blocking the weakest part of his calling range, which is ace high, queen high. I'm also not blocking 5-4 in hands with gut shots. Jacks, 7s are outs. In other words, it's a bluff that's not blocking the weakest part of his range. Plus, I have the jack of hearts, so when a heart comes, I can represent the flush. I think I have to bet sometimes without a draw. It's a board where I'm going to have few draws. Besides the flush draw, there are a few straight draws, and this seems like a good spot to apply pressure. I'm going to bet 1.5 million here.
1.5.
1.5 bet.
I think all of his ace highs can fold his hands like queen jack, queen 10 fold. I'm putting a lot of pressure on his 2x. I think he can also fold those, and that he doesn't have many of them, but he has a few of them. The 6x are going to have a hard time calling again here. And then pocket pairs, like pocket 3s, pocket 4s, pocket 5s, pocket 7s, pocket 8s, are hands that with this stack pre-flop, he might not shove and just defend, and I'm also going to put a lot of pressure on him. Plus, it's 1.5 million to win a pot of 2.2. And on some rivers, I have profitable bluffs. I don't need it to work every time. The thing is that it's a very important pot because if I lose it, I'll lose the chip lead. Alex is thinking. He calls me. Let's see what comes on the river. A heart, which completes the flush. This card completes almost all of my bluffs. It completes the heart flush, which is the most obvious bluff. It completes 5-4, which is another one of the bluffs I could potentially have. He has 3 million left in a pot of 5. I have to go all in for sure as a bluff. I hope he folds, but his range is strong. His range is very tight after having called 2 streets. He has many king X and flushes. I hope I don't run into a flush. King X, if he doesn't have a good kicker, he has a tough spot. Although I don't think he'll fold trips either, but still, he has some 6X that he folds, he has pairs he folds.
4 million.
And it's only half pot on the river. He calls me quickly. He hit the flush. I lose a huge pot. I took the aggressive line in this hand, but honestly, I bluff. It's unusual, but I like it. I think we can't play loose preflop and open super wide preflop if afterwards we're not capable of applying pressure post-flop. It seemed like a good combo to bluff on all 3 streets. I could have used other sizings, both on the flop and on the turn, but once we got to the river...
3 million 40, right?
After this sequence, I think I have to go all in.
No, 2.1.
No, it's 3. Yeah, this is 9, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Too bad I ran into the strongest part of his range, the flush, obviously. Some lower flushes, he could have folded them on the turn. Some weaker flush draws without a pair, etc. And some draws like 10-5 or 10-4 or something like that. He could fold those on the turn on his part. So he doesn't end up with that many flushes, but I ran into the strong part of his range.
$240.
Yeah. Yeah. Big pot, fuck.
Yeah, it was a tough one, huh? You have
Bluff, no, I bluff it against flush. But I'm not sure, it's really tough spot in the final table. Not sure about the sizings, not sure the spot sucks a lot. Probably need him to hit a force on the hands, and I don't know if he will do.
what you have now, like 4? Still
3.7.
3.7.
Yeah.
Pretty big. Yeah, little. Oh yeah. Now they're going to 160. Huh?
Go for a huge bluff. Not sure.
It's all right. We've had those before, no?
Yeah.
Not happy with it?
Really, I mean, I'm not sure. It's not like I make a mistake or I'm not sure. It's
Right.
super difficult hand. So.
But as played, you felt
Can't-
like the spot was right, no?
I
Or
mean,
how
the
did you
river
feel
I
about-
have to bluff for sure. River is a bluff.
Okay.
Then turn and flop is I'm not sure.
Okay.
Flop whatever turn. It's really aggro, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So what's up now?
Yeah, just play every hand the best I can.
Yeah. And I think.
I mean, if he fall in any streets, I won't think too much about the hand,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
because the result was so bad, so
Yeah.
make me think more. But it's okay. Yeah, playing great. I make a huge big call before against
I
him.
saw. Yeah. For your tournament life.
Yeah, that one was difficult, but I think I figured out pretty good. Half time, I prefer with time because normally in some high roller shot clocks, this spot is really difficult to solve. But with time,
Did
it's
you go with the
easier.
read? Did you have a read after? Because you tanked for a long time, no?
Yeah. Everything technically I think it's a call, and then have something more that I think is a call too. So both say yes, so that I go for it.
That's good. That's good. Well, it's still a love game to play, huh? So you heard about the schedule, what they want to do?
Yeah, Paco told me.
Yeah.
Two more
more levels.
hours. Yeah.
So
okay.
either you finish this off in 2 levels, or we're back here tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm changing my flight, not for
Yeah, I
tomorrow,
know.
for the day after tomorrow. So
Okay.
I'm
So you
safe.
have plenty
I'm
of
safe.
time,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I was tilting to lose a big pot. Was first against second in
I
chips.
could tell in your face like when he snapped ball too.
Hmm?
The thing is, you
I mean, he have like.
yeah. I mean, he's gonna snap call the river, but he's not gonna snap on any other card. Like if it doesn't. Hit
I
the
mean,
flush.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing. In no flat dry, maybe I didn't bluff.
Right.
So he had the hand.
Also, if there's no flush, you wouldn't.
No, I
bluff?
won't bluff
Okay.
because I have the flash blocker. Whatever.
And you had him beat.
Eh?
Yeah, you had more. You had better than Queen High.
No,
now.
Jack high, Queen
Okay.
high. Yeah. I mean, he will be in the hand anyway, but in other river, I save the river bet, but that river I have to bluff.
Okay.
Sucks.
All right.
It is what it is.
Let's go here.
Into the toilet.
Yeah.
See you.
See you.
Back from the break.
You have to full turn. What the fuck is this? Huh? I like the both.
Hmm?
I really like the both.
Put the balls.
Huh?
Some balls.
But he have to hold the turn. Maybe he drawing that.
Yeah.
Maybe because you have not switch draw this board.
Like always.
Yes.
Yeah. Stuff.
I'm short stacked again. The strategy is changing now. "24 blinds. There are a few players shorter than me. Ace 5 suited. Obvious open.
320.
Raise. 320. Re-raise.
The chip leader 3-bets me on my left in the hijack,
650.
and I have a hand that is a good candidate for a 4-bet all-in. Here I have two options, shoving or folding. Calling, I think, is the worst of all, but I think my hand is very good for going all in. I'm not blocking the bluffing part, or at least not entirely. With the ace, I'm blocking part of the value range, and on top of that, if he calls, I have 30-something% equity against his range. So I think it's a very good candidate for bluffing.
All in.
All in.
He folds and it works out well. At this final table, we've had several important pots between Alex and me. Some I've won, others he's won. That's how this game works.
Keep them in, please. All in.
Ace king of diamonds. Obvious open.
320.
Right.
Alex calls me on the cutoff.
Heads up.
Bad flop for my hand. On which, out of position, I'm going to have a wide checking range. Let's see what my opponent does.
350.
He bets 1/3. Against 1/3, my hand has to continue. Raising is not an option, so the only option is to call. Bad turn. If he bets, I'm gonna have to fold. But he checks good. The river is a brick, practically. If I was ahead on the turn, I'm probably still ahead on the river with ace high. And here I'm gonna check. There's no point in betting, neither as a bluff nor for value. I have an average hand. I want to check and reevaluate in case he decides to bet. If there's a check, it's likely that I win.
Ace king.
Good. Important pot taken down here with ace king.
Raise.
One out. Good game.
The hours are going by. The elimination pace is slow. We're still 6 players left. Six, 4 of hearts.
How much? Me? Less. 5.2.
It folds around to me in the small blind. I'm going to have a strategy with quite a few calls, but also some raises. And I decide to include this hand in my raising range.
525.
Alex defends.
Hadi.
Very wet flop, good for my range, bad for my hand. But I think I have to bet. Once again, the sizing. I can use several sizings, a small one, a big one, and with my hand, I can use either. This time I'm going with the small one.
250.
Right.
And he raises me. It's very strange that he's raising me here. This is a board where he shouldn't have any raises, or very few. I have to continue. My hand is good enough to continue. I can continue with a call or with a 3-bet, but I can't fold. Here, giving up against this sizing, folding would be very, very tight. Plus, I think his range isn't that strong. The sizing he's using also is very small. I'm hesitating. I'm not sure whether to 3-bet or call. Both are good options. I have backdoor straight draws. I think this is a good hand to apply pressure. My best aces want to keep betting. Yeah, I'm going to 3-bet him.
1.150.
Very right.
He calls me. A huge pot. Let's see what comes on the turn. Oh, bad turn. I don't pick up any additional equity. Even though I can continue, I'm not sure. I have doubts to bluff or not to bluff. Well, I have a very weak hand, but my range is strong. I don't know if I should continue with practically my entire range here, or if I should have some checks. I have doubts. I'm going to check. I think that my ace-kings want to check sometimes too. And if it goes check-check, I can bluff on the river. I don't need to bet my entire range on the turn. I think I can split it with some checks. He grabs chips, bets very small once again, 1/5.
How much?
Calling is not an option. The question here is whether to fold or raise. I think his range is weak, honestly, but I'm not sure either. What does he have here to raise me on the flop and bet now? He could have an ace that wants to check on the river, a random 5 that raised me on the flop and is betting small now. He might have a 5. The thing is that I'm blocking them. 6-4 blocks the most likely 5x that he would raise with. This is the worst hand in my range, but I think his range isn't that strong either. Can I raise here to 1.4, 1.5? It's a bit marginal, but I think his range is weak. But nah, I'm at the bottom of my range. I'm gonna fold. He shows a 7 of hearts. He bluffed me. Interesting pot. I think we were both bluffing against each other. He made the last bet. Maybe I should have check-raised the turn. Maybe I should have continued my bluff. The thing is that when I'm not sure about the spot, I don't want to get too crazy with my entire range either. And that hand was among the worst I had there. This spot wasn't clear because it's a spot that happens very rarely. Nice 10. Against the cutoffs open, it's an obvious call. Bad flop. He's going to bed. It depends on the sizing. He bets just one blind. Against such a small bet, I have to continue. My hand only has one option here, and that's to call. The turn is a 2. It gives me a gut shot. But I have a somewhat weak hand. Sometimes I could be ahead. Let's see what my opponent does. He's grabbing chips, not good news. And he bets. Ace high wins sometimes, but his preflop range is tighter, and there's a pretty high ICM. And preflop he shouldn't be opening very wide. My hand is somewhat marginal. I think it's going to be more of a fold. I can't call. The pot odds are good, but then on many rivers I'll have very complex decisions. I think folding is better, the best option, I think. Nothing is working right now. I'm losing every hand. King 10 of hearts. 15 blinds. I have to open this hand.
320.
The chip leader on my left calls me, who now has a big chip lead.
2.3.
Interesting flop, on which I can either c-bet or check this hand. His range, when I have 15 blinds, I think he no longer has overpairs. Tens or better would have 3-bet me, maybe a slow play with aces or kings, but it's not that common. I'm going to bet.
250.
He folded nice.
Okay.
We're down to 5 players. I'm last in chips.
You got flash too.
I'm on the cutoff. Pocket nines with 11 blinds. Here I need to have a shoving range and a raising range. With this hand I'm going to open.
400.
It's too strong to shove directly. Alex is thinking on the button. Huge race, he puts me all in. And well, an obvious call.
All in.
All in.
Let's see if I double up. Nice, he has ace-9 offsuit, that's good news. I need to hold, it's a pot of almost 5 million. Oh no, an ace. I only have one out now, it's tough. Come on, 9. No.
Okay. Good luck, guys. Good luck.
Eliminated in 5th place. A lot of ups and downs in this tournament. Tough moments when I was short stacked, then happy moments when I was doing well. A lot of ups and downs, but that's how poker works, especially in 6-max tournaments. With short-handed tables, there are a lot of ups and downs.
Bad beat that one series though. Great series. Yeah. Bad beat in the last one with too many close ones. 6, 10, 11, 4. Fuck. Thank you.
Good run anyway.
Yeah.
Good mindset. Good play. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I'll need your players card.
Players cards, sure.
You're all set, Adrian.
Thank you very much.
Welcome and have a good night.
The 2024 World Series of Poker is coming to an end. 45 days during which I played a lot. I had good results. I won quite a bit of money this summer, but I'm left with a bitter taste from coming so close to my 5th bracelet on multiple occasions, finishing 4th, 5th, 10th, 11th in several different tournaments.
Following you, man.
Well then, that will have to wait until next year. I'll definitely be back.
Thanks.
There's no doubt about it, Adrian. After this 5th place finish in the $10,000 Six Max, good for $200,000 in winnings, you'll return to Las Vegas stronger than ever, with your status as #1 in the world consolidated by new accomplishments all over the circuit. After this 2024 edition of the WSOP, where you wowed us in 2 consecutive tournaments, you went on to play 7 high roller final tables in Cyprus, winning 1 of them. After that, you went in search for another final table on the Triton circuit in Monte Carlo, before racking up the results in the Bahamas at the winter edition of the World Series of Poker. A binge of performances that allowed you to end the year at the top of the 2024 all-time money list with over $13 million earned in 12 months. For both us and Team Winamax, it is time to leave Las Vegas and the World Series. Thanks to Adrian Mateos and Pierre Calamusa, the team has written new memorable chapters in the history of your favorite series. There will be more, because we'll be back very soon to explore a destination never visited before. In the meantime, we thank you for your loyalty and for your ever-renewed enthusiasm. See you soon in the next season of Inside the Mind of a Pro.